Okay, why don't we call this meeting to order? First, order of business is a public hearing. That's to receive public comment on a proposed Restore New York grant application. Lee, you were gonna do a little run up to this.
Yeah, the Restore New York program is, program that's been around for a while. This is round 6. The last time it was offered is 2017. It is to revitalize vacant, abandoned, surplus or condemned buildings. So we were approached by this gentleman here, who will give you a presentation in just a moment, for the property at 41 West Main Street that they would like to renovate, rehabilitate. We are intending to submit an application on their behalf to the program. It's due on October 11th. This is part of the process, is seeking public input on the process. So I guess I will allow you then to take it away. I would note that, so part of what we're discussing is the project itself. We were required to do, there was a legal notice for this public hearing, but also we posted property assessment for this, which is, there's only one property for this one. And that was also published 3 consecutive days. So why don't you go ahead and speak a little bit about the project, and if there are questions for me too, I'm happy to answer.
Sure, thank you. My name is Gary Hammond. I'm a partner in St. Lawrence Sons LLC. It's a corporation formed in February of this year. This is a project we've been working on since last spring. We were originally looking at leasing out and doing a brewery, which fell through. And so then we came across the Restore program, and we had looked at the barn previously, but it needs an awful lot of work. But this project is perfect for it. Restore, as Lee just said, you know, is to bring vacant buildings back in the purpose and stuff. So I'd like to first of all thank the board for having us in the village for considering us for this project. So we are now Bent Beam Brewing to go along with the barn. The vents in a barn goes along with that. So we have a name. This is not our logo. This is what I made on my PowerPoint presentation. So our concept is the Bent Beam Brewery and Gastropub. We want to be able to bring great beer, great food, give another option in canning. This project will of course be the restoration of a century-old barn. The total project is over $1.1 million into restoration, equipment, and other capital. It will greatly expand the tax base and of course sales tax revenue with our sales. And we want to be able to enhance and expand the Canton's dining and entertainment options. So there's more places for people to go out and enjoy. I really think the more we have to offer in Canton, the more people will get out and use it, and it will help all the businesses. Just if anybody's not completely familiar with the site itself, this is Route 68. This is Clapton Hepburn's Health Center, and this is the parking lot for the Army Reserve. This is the barn. We're hoping to have a full title of it now. It's just in the lawyer's hands. We have purchased it, and offers are all signed. We're just waiting now for the survey to come through. We're hoping to close this week, so hopefully next week. But you can see, I think we've got room for the parking we're going to need for the code. And all pulled out when we're done, the barn will be about 4,500 square feet of finished space. The front is what we're planning to build out as the brewery, tasting room, brew pub area, and then the back will be into the restaurant. And we'll be in the front. We'll have the brewery and hope to have like a loft space, so you'll be able to sit down and look over the brewery equipment in the area. In the back will be almost 2 full stories. We picture the second story sometime being a really nice event space. Not huge, but it'd be great for small gatherings, small parties, birthday parties, things like that. So this is what it's looking like now. First, it was last the mattress barn. It's been vacant for almost 11 years, but there is quite a history. It was owned by Stillman Cook for about 70 years. In the 50s, it housed the Canton Dairy Co-op. then the seventies, it came to McCarthy's Furniture Barn, and then the Memphis Barn from the current owner that we were purchasing from. And as I said, it's been vacant for over 11 years. You can see, if you've driven by, everybody's, it's been there a long time, so you see what it says, looks like. Here's the inside, this is the upper portion of the back part of the barn. You can see, we got holes in the roof. Some water in the lower portion, I mean, this will all be stripped out. We did have a structural engineer come through and give us a visual assessment, and he gave us the thumbs up that it is a viable building. Even if when you drive by and you look, the roof lines are square, nothing is sagging at this point. The holes probably kind of helped a little bit. The rain came in, but so did the air. The base floors are all solid concrete, which is perfect for what we need to do. And so it's still solid that way. So our scope of work, the purchase and rehabilitation is $665,000. These are our in-house budgets right now. We have retained Tisdale Associates to do our preliminary drawings and budget. If we need a third-party budget for Restore New York grant, and they will have that in time for that. So these are our numbers. Everything's subject to change. Brewery equipment, we're looking at about $260,000 to fit out the whole space. We've already purchased about $110,000 worth of equipment. Restaurant equipment, $100,000. That's everything from your kitchen to your tables, to your chairs, to your glasses, and all that stuff. Working capital is almost $100,000. That number is probably going to have to go up as interest rates went up again today. One of the things with the grant, as I go down from here, is we're looking at the Restore New York grant. They will pay up to 90% of the project with a 10% match, but they also have limitations on how much they pay per square foot, and we would actually max that out. So we're looking at 90% of the $605,000. They only pay for the actual renovation portion. They don't contribute any equipment or other working capital. We're really working with National Grid to restore for the National Grid Main Street restoration grant. That's money similar to the Restore New York. That's good for vacant properties. They've already been on site to confirm it's vacant. Pretty easy confirmation. And we're pretty close to the end of that and having that money secured. Our corporation, St. Lawrence Sons, we have put in $240,000. We've got money set aside for the purchase of the building when that closes, and also to get a roof on it just as soon as we can, because we don't want to sit down and have a winter without that. We'd also have a commitment letter from NBT Bank. We should have that at the end of the week for $240,000. So our group is coming in with about almost $500,000 of private money into this project. We still have a little bit unfunded, and like I said, that may grow as things change, interest rates. One thing with the grant money, it's all paid at the end of the project, so we have to finance that for the entire thing. Again, interest rates just went up 3/4 point. I figured you're looking at the finance that you're over $3,000 a month, just in finance charges. The scope of our project, we're hoping to get built out, pouring beer in July. We'll build out that front, and then in the fall, we'll continue on into the restaurant. We're hoping to be able to close out most of it by the end of 2023, so we can turn that grant money financing around as quickly as we can. And then sometime in probably late spring, have the restaurant up and going after it gets fitted out. We're also currently working with St. Louis County IGA, great resource. They're helping us in any other ways we can. Lots of different programs to look at, financing options, and even just basic business awareness and stuff to help us with these decisions. And obviously, with the overall cost, without the Restore New York grant, we would not be able to fund this entire project. So it's very important to be able to get this project into the village as quickly as possible. For the economic impact, like I said, first year we'll be brewing. That will entail for full-time job equivalents. We'll have like 20 hours a week for a brewer, 20 hours a week for an assistant brewer. We got full-time manager and 2 full-time servers. We're picturing probably being open Wednesday through Sunday, Wednesday through Friday, probably, 4 to 10 in that area. Saturday from 12 to 10 and Sunday from 12 to 7, so, it'll be evening and weekend hours, for starting out, and of course, that's all subject to change as we get in and figure out what we're doing. In those first 5 years, we've got payroll figured at over $1 million paid out over those 5 years. Sales tax collected should amount to over $200,000, and of course, that goes to the county and gets their share of it as well. Top for property taxes. Right now, the property is valued at $55,000. I've taken these with just a minus 3% increase year over year. So you'd see unimproved, the value you get about $10,000 by $10,500. That's village and school taxes combined. And that's also not figuring that over these years, without any help, this building is going to collapse, and then really the value is going down, and you may even end up looking for grant money to clean up, a mess there. After we put in $600,000-700,000, I would hope the building would be worth about $500,000. And again, here's our taxes based on first year, no change. And then the taxes, your $20,000 to $22,000 a year in combined property and school taxes. We as a group, we are not even considering any kind of pilot program to ask for that. We figure if we can get help with this, we want to pay, our taxes as a business right up front, and help the village out as much as we can, as you help us out. So the total difference is over 5 years, is over $77,000 in tax-based payments. On to the good stuff, our beers. Our brewer, Joe Ehrlichman, he's been brewing for over 30 years. He's not just a professor of beer, he actually does teach brewing class at St. Lawrence University. He also teaches neuroscience. It's to say he's very critical of his beer himself is limit. He wants perfection out of everything. Sometimes we have to say, no, Joe, don't dump that beer. That's good. We'll drink it. So he specializes in New England IPAs, the hazy, citrusy, probably about 40% of the market right now. A lot of people like them, but we also have a full range of beers from New England IPAs, the West Coast, to sours, some English ales, ESB bitters, porters, stouts. We're gonna have a whole gamut. And along with that, we want to, people will come in and taste, and we want to be able to educate them on the different beers, because a lot of times people look at a beer and say, oh, that's dark, that's heavy, we don't like that. They want to say, sit down, let's chat, let's have a drink, and see what you really like. The restaurant, so the early concepts on the restaurant, we really want to focus on farm to table, fresh, local, working with local producers, have a fresh, rotating, seasonal menu. Something you've seen a lot of restaurants around the country really focusing on, and we want to do the same thing here and bring something different to the village. Healthy, sustainable options. We want to be, make sure we have some gluten-free, vegetarian and vegan options available to people. To be everything from casual to a little bit of upscale, just so you're not going to walk in and just get your regular burger and fries. You want to do something a little bit special, but not out of reach for everybody. We also want to make sure we work our beers into it. We want to have foods cooked with beer. We want to have pairings with beer, so you might come down and have something a nice fish on the menu, and then we can say this pairs nicely with this IPA, or wintertime sit down, you might have a nice bowl of hearty stout chili. Almost done. Just want to show you, this is actually our brew house. We purchased it from Hackensack Brewery in Hackensack, New Jersey. It's a 5-barrel alpha brew house system. It produces about 155 gallons every batch you run through it. He was serving, he had this for 3 years, and he has upgraded to the system 4 times the size of this. So it is, we got really lucky. We shopped for a lot of months. We caught this. We got really lucky. Almost new system. Joe's already actually brewed on it. Great guy to work with. He's here to back us any questions and things that we have. So Joe's got some hours on this brew house already. And it's wrapped and packed and sitting in storage right now, waiting for a new home. So that's all I've got. Any questions?
Board, anybody? Anybody from the public? Comment? All your investors?
I would like to say something. Mark
Uh,
Brackett is my name. And we look at this project, we have a dilapidated barn up there that will probably fall down in a year or two. We'll restore that. We'll be able to bring some food to sit down and eat in Canton, which when we look at the numbers of the money spent throughout the county, the 20-mile
I've got that
radius.
here. You got the numbers?
I don't.
So, this is compiled from 2017, sorry.
No, go ahead.
You brought that up, I did write these down for this particular reason. Within a 5-mile radius, beer and ale sales away from home for a year were $340,342 within 5 miles of Canton. Within a 20-mile radius, that goes up to $2,310,000. So that's not very far. People are going this way to drink and eat. 5-mile radius for food from restaurants, etc. In Canton, $11,398,000. This is again 2017. 20-mile radius, that jumps to $79,000 people are spending on going out to dinner within 20-mile radius of Canton. So there's $68 million that's not being spent on food. And another $1.79 million and that's just beer and ale. I didn't get into the other wines and liquor and stuff because that would be later on, I think. So you're looking, there's $70 million market out there that we could get a better piece of it and help bring in. Sorry, Mark.
What he said. Thank you for allowing us to make this presentation.
Well, thank you for looking at investing here. Questions?
So I do have a question about, so this is the equipment, and you said that would be in a space that you could actually see, so.
Yes.
So the public can see what's.
Yeah,
happening.
that pretty shiny
I like the
stuff
green
is
space.
nice. Yeah. That's part of the alpha system. That's their thing. So.
So it's part of the ambiance, and there's a part to that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, and this is, you see this part, this is actually the brew house, behind it is the hot liquor tank, and then we also have 3 other fermentation vessels, and with the space we've got, we'd like to add a couple more, to give you more options, to be able to do more beer and try to get ahead of demand. I really think, looking at some of the other breweries around, they actually have a hard time making enough beer to sell. Yeah, so, again, in that ramp up, we're saying if we're talking July for selling beer, that means we got to produce mid to end of May, and you have to build up your inventory, because it doesn't, it takes time to produce this wonderful.
And you did say that there could be eventually a vent space, and that it would be a small space, like what kind of capacity is?
The way that the square footage breaks down, the front part of the front environment look at it is about 1,352 square feet. The majority of that will be brew space. That's you have a small entrance and probably bathrooms there. First floor loft, which will also be able to look down in about 500 square feet. The rear space, which houses the majority of the restaurant, is about 1,400 square feet, and the upper would be breaking down about 1,200 square feet. And that would be the future event space, or to start out with that, maybe some game space, place you can sit down and play some cards or board game and allow you to put your beer. So there's early uses for it as well.
Any further questions?
Yeah.
Sounds terrific. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Excellent.
Appreciate it.
Anything else?
Considering.
No more comments? Anybody?
Tell us. We're out.
Yeah, I tried to say we didn't bring any beer to pass around.
How long does it take to get a batch through?
Takes 8 hours to do one turn, so to brew it, and then the fermentation side, 7 to 10 days, and conditioning, so, you know. By the time you brew it and you can drink it for a short-term beer like an IPA, it's gonna quick turnaround. 2-3 weeks.
Hmm.
Lager's gonna take longer.
And then how long they last you?
So it depends on the beer. So the IPAs are particularly persnickety because of the hops. So, you know, generally with production, if you're gonna put it on shelves, you don't want it there much beyond 5 weeks. Right, so they have the dates on them. We don't plan on doing a lot of can distribution. We'll do some locally, I mean, it's in the brewery. But those are like very time sensitive. So other beers, no, you can keep them for quite a while. You don't have the same pressure as you do with it.
I know somebody who likes it. And I think that there be some students would love to have this kind of lab.
Yeah. Well, I use
Wide running.
a smaller system for my class, but I have one student that got it for several years, and so she was a student, she was a TA, and then she just was run on a pilot system in Massachusetts. So she's looking to, carry on and she wants to be at or something.
And her parents thought she went to college for euros.
Non-science, I'm not sure exactly.
Beautiful.
Exactly. You can learn how to do.
Okay, thank you. We're excited to have you.
And it was a great PowerPoint.
Excellent.
You have to thank the second grade of middle school for.
Okay, well, we don't have anything else. We'll move on to our regular meeting. Thank you, everybody. I'm sorry,
All running.
I can't hear you.
We're all going to have a weird.
Yeah. You want a motion and to close it, or you okay?
Second.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I was.
Okay.
I just count the days. Yep.
We have a lot of interest in drinking beer.
Normally I wouldn't.
Okay. Well, we'll move on with our agenda here.
It's not nearly as exciting.
Well, it depends.
Bring us up.
Depends on how you make it. There were two additions to the agenda. There was a G is to approve a part-time police dispatcher, Gary Ryan. And H is to discuss the solar array on State Street next to the nursing home.
Do we need to do something with that letter for the DRI and the New York Forward Go?
Do we need to have that on the agenda?
I didn't know if we did.
I don't,
I just said it like, way before. I don't think.
Okay.
okay. The order of business is to approve minutes.
I would like to say hooray. I'm sorry, I'm still adding. Hooray, I'm so glad I'm getting caught up on those. I do have a couple of things that I think need to be corrected. In the August, mostly because if we have a meeting for the record. In the August minutes in the ED section, it says that, I think Anna said both CFs are in, but it should be CFAs. So I just want to be sure that's correct for the record. The July 22nd ones in section A, when we're talking about the oversight committee, just two things. Bob Stanmore spoke about was talking about, it says it's just an informational committee that doesn't make decisions, not discussion.
When we just want to be sure that when we come back to that, it doesn't.
Yeah, and also it says that, refers to say Mary Ann said, shall we hire Jackie? And I just thought we should, make that clear that Jackie takes. Thank you, sorry to bring those up.
I have. In the 717. There is, in the committee reports. There is a community engagement committee, it says. I think that it'd be ideal if that was actually a public safety committee report. And the community engagement committee would be part of the text. It isn't. a board
You mean
committee.
August 17th, not 7/17?
817, my bad, yes. That is what I meant.
Public what? 'Cause I think.
Public
that's
Safety
exactly what
Committee.
someone said. That's fine.
Right, the community engagement committee is the police community committee that formed in the aftermath of the police reform, but it's part of the public safety committee report. And then they're on the 7, no, I guess it would be 827. I don't know what I was thinking. Sorry.
727.
No, they were 727. Okay, so that was right.
27 or so?
So.
She said 17, that's why.
817, 722, and 727.
Yep. So in the 727. My last name needs the E, not the O. And Bob Wash is Bob Washo. So he got my O. Or I got his O and my E vanished. Thank you.
Anything else?
No, I move that we approve the minutes as corrected.
Second.
On favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, department head reports. We have, Tim Nolan will not be here. His mother passed away today. And, the village superintendent got hauled away to a problem. Yeah, I think he's logged in here. Just in case he's needed. So, right on top is rec report. How's the ice?
The ice is ice. Yeah, the ice is currently being made, it started on Monday. Yesterday, my staff and I worked 19 hours straight. Put the whitewash down, the lines down, the protective surface down. Best thing is at midnight, they both still have smile on their face, so that was good. But no, it was good. Cause that is, I think everybody on the board knows, we have a time station, it's dealing with, the temperature science class. So it's a constant battle, so once you start a certain process, you have to finish it, and if you don't finish it, you've run the risk of ruining what you already did, and then adding another week of work on top of that, so. So it was a horrible day, but it was needed to get it done, and doing the stuff 3 or 4 times. So yeah, so now we're just doing the layering on top. You just do a small layers that make it really, really hard ice. And that could take anywhere between 2 or 3 days to get our desired depth. The old Olympia has returned to the pavilion today, so that was exciting. DPW, they managed the repair on the engine overall. And then most recently, we just picked it up from Town Highway today. Town Highway, they replaced all the brakes for us because blocking up last year. Kind of want brakes if you're driving on ice, so they got those all fixed. And Stevens crew is wonderful. They did some lifestyle tweaks to the machine. It's an old machine, and so they tightened up some stuff that were loosened, and it'll just make driving the machine a lot easier. So that was a nice surprise when we started to pick it up today. And the new door at the pavilion has been installed, which is wonderful. And Barclays will be running the ADA button that's gonna go on the new front doors. They need to guts into the interior door. It's never had guts in it, so they have to do the guts, get the buttons and all that. So that's exciting. It's
Then
done.
is it, but is, the outdoor door is new, is the indoor door the same door?
The indoor door is the same.
It just.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's really nice door, Fulton Glass did it for us, and it was nice because insurance paid for it, because of the wind damage that it went through last week. So moving all the way around. Yeah. So any questions or happy again?
So I do have a question, Megan, about your 19-hour day. Thank you all, thank you. Is that something that we could get other help for? Is it something that can just make it easier? Or is it just something that three of you just need to put your heads down and do?
It's really, it's a. You could try to get extra hands for it, but really you need to know what you're doing. You need to know where to put the lines, and it's kind of a process. And the reason why we have to do it is because of the reason, it's because of condensation drips. Because once you put that whitewash down, until you seal it, every time a drip comes from the ceiling, your whitewash goes away. So it's, we have like 30 trash cans on the ice right now to catch water, and a lot of them have 6 inches of water in them. So, and they're 50-gallon trash can. So it's just a battle, but
I guess my thought was just that, for future reference, if we could hire a couple people to come in and help you, I think we should, but if it's better for you, your team to just do it.
yeah, and like a lot of like Potsdam, I know Potsdam, they actually bring in the entire DPW crew and they work all nights. They don't actually work days, they work nights. Put it in, it's cooler, so the ceiling's not dripping. I know Norwood, they bring in like 30 volunteers and they do it around the clock. They actually sleep at the rink to put it in because everybody around here has condensation issues. And the only reason to get rid of it, the only way to get rid of the condensation is to buy a $500,000 humidifier. So, and that's not really a budget item, but we're just making it work. Can't change the weather, just, work with it.
Is the one compressor up and running? Only one, or you got them both running?
Oh, no, they're both running.
Not compressor, I'm sorry, the dehumidifier.
Smaller dehumidifier that always has issues, has another leak in it, so. It had a leak last year, they fixed it, now has another slow leak on it. And I know historically, the staff that has been there, that dehumidifier has always been a problem, always, every year, there's something wrong with it, so. Just working through it. We appreciate it.
Any other questions for Megan?
Just one, Megan, when is Barclays gonna be able to do that ADA button work?
Whenever they can get to it on their schedule, unfortunately. Yeah.
Waiting
they-
on them.
Yeah, they
Okay.
know, I know Evan Pool very well, so he knows when we're trying to, our first day of ice, so.
Right.
They're trying.
Right.
Cause yeah, they are, I think everybody knows how swamped they are.
Mhm.
I know they're doing some free keying in the building as well to help our security, so they've got a long list that they're gonna plug away at.
Let me know when you did that. He changed it out again. That
Yeah.
went in that night.
In the knock spot.
Okay. Anything else? Superintendent's up next. He's out wherever he's at. We have his report and the other piece that went with the foreman's report. Any questions? Okay.
Do you happen to know when we'll have a quote from Tisdale's on the sewer project?
Talked to him about that today. And he was up there speaking with him, so I don't know.
I'll ask.
He spoke with him the past day or two. You were there. You were
Yeah.
sitting there when we
Yeah.
asked, so it was within the last
Yeah.
day. Okay. What I was missing.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I met with Aaron last week and he's about halfway through his study on that. So I'm anticipating probably within the next 2-3 weeks, we should have some answers. Next Monday, I believe we're having some more water testing done. So we're also waiting on that.
Thank you.
Anything else for for Tim. Thank you, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
You're welcome.
Okay, I have the historian's report. He's working hard at getting ready to move down the street. She's not here tonight. We're missing two people.
No, we're.
Things are thin. Okay, economic development. Hi,
Hi.
one of your big nights. Got a lot of things going on.
A little busy right now.
Wait, do
Yes,
you need me to continue this?
I only need public hearing. Do you want me to give a summary or do you want, if anybody has, give a summary? Well, we were notified that we got the $1 million Northern Border Regional Commission grant for the secondary water source. So that's very exciting. We just had a sort of introductory training webinar on Monday about that. There are a few changes, the improvements since the last time we went through the program, so. So that's exciting. We'll be working on the county ARPA application, it's due in November.
Okay.
To request some additional funding for that project. We submitted an application to DEC for the EV charging station with help from Klaus. So that was submitted. We're requesting funds to install a fast charger. So what is it, 10 times faster than current one, 3 times faster?
10 times faster than the level 2. And 3 times faster than current fast chargers. So much faster.
So hopefully if we're successful with that, between that and the National Grid Make Ready program, now the cost of that will be covered. The Willow Island project, we have hired the consultants. We had our first meeting with them. There's going to be the first public meeting will be on September 29th at 6 o'clock right here. So they're also earlier that day are planning some stakeholder meetings, some specific groups had some specific thoughts or concerns about the location and just the project. And so we're having also some stakeholder meetings earlier that day. New York Main Street project is plugging away. We are struggling some in getting responses from contractors, so that's been a bit of a struggle. But we are progressing slowly. We've got one project finished, 2 or 3 underway, 2 of them out to bid. One of them did back out. So my intention is to redistribute what their award was to the other projects and maximize out, we go up to 75% of the project, or there are dollar limitations per building as well. So I'm going to max out the other awards with the prices getting changing so drastically since we first applied for this and everything. It's harder for them to accomplish what they had hoped to. So I want to maximize those awards. So we're plugging away at that. The CDBG CARES Act. Again, this is something we've been discussing for quite some time. We finally did get the invitation to do a full application. So that is due by September 30th, and that's going to be for over $1 million. 500,000. Our intent is to be for small business grant assistance. We did release the survey again, trying to create that pipeline. So get the word out there about that, have people respond to us and let us know, even if they're interested, let us know so we can demonstrate the need. And the other part of that is to assist United Helpers with their behavioral health clinic, bringing on 12 new practitioners and over 400 new clients within a year is what the goal is there. The DRI New York Forward application is coming along very nicely. Last year we had a 65-page application. This year we're limited to 20 pages. So it's going to be very pared down, a lot less fluff and a lot less images involved, but it's in good shape. We continue to get letters of support in on that. It's due Friday by 4 o'clock. So we're plugging away at that. We did decide to apply to both programs. We could fit into either of them. We can do it in the same application document, so why not? So that's what we're intending to do. Restore New York, as you know, there's a couple things on the agenda, we're working on that, applications due on the 11th. The other thing I want to say about that project is, and I'll just bring it up now, I don't know if it's gonna need action later. They're also applying for funds through the National Grid Main Street program, and they will need a letter of endorsement from the board or from the community, probably from the mayor. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, and I don't know if you need to authorize Mike to do that on behalf of the board tonight or what. I don't know if you need a formal motion or.
For the National
They are
Grid,
applying to the National Grid Main Street Restoration Program, for $50,000. But they got the endorsement.
you can authorize me to sign it.
Yes,
You want me to finish?
I think it makes sense for us to do that. It's not needed, so it's-
Sure, good.
You got it to the agenda. As I said, there's some other things on the agenda for that later. There's a secret review and the resolution. What else? Finishing up the tree grants, there's still some money left on the maintenance grant. So we're hoping to go back out and have some tree removals done that were recommended in our forest management plan. We've got some money that we can use for the art project for maintenance, so we can distribute funds that way for DEC. Music on Main, I just mentioned in here, every set was happening when you came in. Every Wednesday, 5 to 6. We are working again, my office is here with the community-based learning program at St. Lawrence. We're going to post it to the students. What else? I just mentioned the World University Games that are coming in January. The preliminary rounds of hockey will be played here. 20 teams, 12 men's teams and 8 women's teams. So they'll be between January 11th and 19th. So there'll be a lot of people in the community around those times. So it's not only the athletes, it's the officials, it's the, the trainers, the families, all those things. So there's a lot going on now for marketing and promoting it and sponsorship opportunities, volunteer opportunities, and that sort of thing. Sweet Tree Bakery is opened.
Yeah, that's a real problem.
I seem to run into you on LinkedIn sometimes.
Yeah, you're there, I'm there.
And I toured the Grass River Camp facility, which was very interesting. They've got a lot going on over there. So that's, I don't know if there's anything to add or not. There's a lot going on.
Questions?
Yeah, Lee, how long do we have, or do the project recipients have to use the Main Street money?
The deadline right now is March of 2023, March 30th. But if there are projects in process, we can request an extension. We're having trouble with lead times on supply chain stuff, like
Right.
windows take 24 weeks to get.
Right,
So that's the current deadline, and we can't request an extension until we're within a month of that.
okay. Would you anticipate that some of these projects are gonna require that then?
I wouldn't be surprised. It depends on the contractors,
Right.
it's just a weird time in construction right now.
Right,
Um,
it seems like there's several of the projects that haven't even gotten started, gotten contracts and gotten started.
There are a few, yes, that's true.
Okay. And then the other question, can you just say more about your office's involvement with the community-based learning? Like how does that
We were
work?
approached, we had 2 students last year, and we worked with the county chamber primarily on Music on Main and doing promotional things for that.
Okay.
We can assign a project to them that's mutually beneficial to them and us. I have a write-up of what the class is that they're from.
I
There are 2 students, it's 2 hours a week between now and Thanksgiving, basically. So I have not yet defined a project, but we have some thoughts about what we might have to work on. If you have thoughts, feel free to suggest. But yes, it's 2 hours a week.
Great.
A lot of it will be in the community,
Uh-huh.
not in the office.
Right.
So,
Because they would have to sit on your lap. Please,
So-
at the steering committee last week, somebody, like it was Laura Paul, said that there's revived interest in the song. I wonder if there's any, like, what these guys could do on that. 'Cause
We
that
did
could
talk
get out
about
into
that
the
as
community.
being, a good project for them. Yes, I did not know about that.
That's a great idea.
Right.
Yeah.
But
That
no,
would be a nice way
it
for
would
them to
be-
just get out and like, we'll just talk to business people and do what they think.
Yeah, and maybe we can sort of prepare a list of questions that they can go in and sort of have a sit down casual discussion with property owner, building business owners and get their feedback, but also on the campus side. Get feedback from, the students, and apparently it's faculty that have expressed an interest in reviving it over there. So that's some, I think, what our struggle has been in the past to make it successful, so it didn't really have an owner. Rainbow Crabtree from Nature's was primarily the one who's organizing it. And the colleges participated and gave us some budget, but it was, they really need to own it for it to be successful. And Potsdam's is really successful because City Potsdam makes it a priority from the administration, like from the top down. And that's why it works. So that would be, it would be nice to see that revive.
I was,
Nice.
yeah, and I just literally had this conversation on Sunday, and I was at a local vendor's place, and we had the same conversation that event is missed, and was encouraged to potentially advocate that a stop is done on a day that the farmer's market is actually happening.
That's what we ended up doing. I think it's typically done on a Friday.
Good,
So, yeah,
because not everybody's on Main Street. So,
true.
so, and that's just it's a culturally, it's a really good thing for our students and our new students.
Agreed. Yeah.
Not that we could add it to orientation, but somewhere around those first few days, for those first years, we're really welcoming them to our community.
Yeah, that's the idea too. It was modeled after the one in Potsdam, as I mentioned, and there's just called First Saturday. It's the
Yeah.
first Saturday of the semester, you know, the craft. that they do. And I know St. Lawrence, in the past has really encouraged the first years to participate and be part of it. So it's been mostly first years that have done it. But thank you for the reminder, like I said, it's, yes, that would be a great use of their time.
Anything
Get
else?
that going.
Okay. Good. Chief,
First thing I want to mention is the school superintendent is hooking us up with the application up near William Mountain. And that place where dirt is and all the composting somewhere in there. He's going to set up an area for us to impound the winter tone.
Mhm.
People will just take their car and then chase them down. Pay $10. That'll be able to take care of that. It won't be large. It'll be probably 6 to 10 vehicles, I think. I'm not sure exactly what he's got. Everything I want to mention is 22nd, somebody report. I went to St. Lawrence University, talked to all of the college freshmen as part of their campus safety 101. To just make sure that they all knew about renewal house, about the village code laws, and they're all well aware. In one form or another, each year, they're all made aware, so none of them can say that they don't know about the village noise complaints. We know about that, I had an issue with that this year. I also wanted to just throw out that the guys have been out trying to keep pretty busy. They stay busy whether they want to or not. Chasing people down and getting lost. Certainly, if there's any issues or anybody you hear of is having issues, please have them call the PD. I had to have a few conversations with some people that I know. They try to email me and I don't see it till Monday, and by then everything's over with. So contacting the PD, whoever people dealing with what's happening is best way to do it.
for those of you that don't know, Klaus had 200 people in the side yard. Close to,
200.
close to one.
Holy smokers.
Close to.
Andy,
It was a big
oh,
part, wasn't it?
yeah.
Many in my backyard,
But they were in his backyard.
repeatedly, many in my backyard. It took some doing. Some lost things and had to find them, you know. It was,
I bet.
it was,
Anything for the chief? Okay. Looks like the treasurer is the next one on the pile here.
Don't really have anything to add. Would like to say there's a big thank you from both the deputies in my office for the training they went to. Yeah. They enjoyed themselves. They met a lot of people, and that was, to me, that's one of the most important things. When they go, they both went to separate classes. One went to treasurer classes, one went to clerk classes. And they're very enthusiastic about returning. So
Great.
yeah, it's wonderful. So they both said thank you for the effort.
So that was worth it for you to take down the floor.
Yes, yes, they did come back. They did come to work on Friday.
It's good.
Well, that's great.
It's nice to have it.
Sally, I should have asked you this question later, but hooray for getting us all caught up on the minutes, so we are all caught up, right?
I think there's one that I'm waiting for.
Okay. And then also, are we still, the Zoom recording?
Yes. But they were gone last week. So that-
Yeah.
That was Melinda.
So if you all recall, we have to get all the Zoom recordings off of Zoom and onto YouTube, and need to be posted. The rule now is that they've got to be posted within 5 days. So for some of them, we're only about 2 years late, but we have them, so we're getting them up there as fast as we can.
Sally, speaking of help, have we gotten anywhere with Penske? For our,
We have one that really doesn't have any experience. So
okay,
what I actually, well, I'm sorry, not last night, but I can tell you now that, I'm going to call and haven't done it yet. Department of Labor, because they said they have a lot of people at that level that they do.
okay, great. Be good to,
Yes.
Keep trying.
yeah, keep at it, thank you.
Anything else for Sally? Looks like sales, looks like taxes are coming in. Or no, what was
Well,
coming?
that, well, yeah. taxes
Trial
are-
balance, okay, I'm sorry.
That's what they're coming in.
Okay, Tim is gone. And I don't know what his schedule will be, but as soon as I know, we'll get that information out.
Please communicate our,
Condolences.
yeah,
I did earlier and I will again once, and I'll let you know what I know when I know it. How's that? The assessor, I haven't seen her. Did you know what she?
I have not seen anything. I
Okay.
know earlier in the week, I don't think she's still.
Okay. Well, you have a report.
Right.
If you want answers to any questions you have, well, send her a note, please. Okay, animal control is, looks like he's had a few complaints.
had some people are out.
Partridge Run, is moving right along. The pro seems pretty happy with the condition of the course. And they'll be winding down here in October.
Can you say that louder?
I've heard lots of compliments on our new team member
Awesome,
out there.
Good. Great.
great.
And the fire chief sent you an update. He also has been busy at the colleges. They've done burns, dorm room burns. Props. Always interesting to see how that works out.
It is amazing to be part of the audience and watch the students look at that. You know, it's a model
Model dorm.
dorm room, and it goes up so fast, and they are in awe of how fast, and the smoke is impressive, because that should be your first issue. So it's
So
pretty
they did that at
impressive.
both campuses.
Good.
So,
Right, and did you have something else to say?
No. Oh, only that, yes, I guess I did, only that he also provided us the helpful reminder that we should check our smoke detectors. Yep.
okay. With all that, I need a motion to accept department head reports. All in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Committee reports. I know we have committees. One report.
Although, I don't have a lot. You never have a lot for ED because he covers so much. The one thing I think to report is that, following the consortium meeting that was, earlier this month, and I don't know if you have anything to report on that, Mike. We are gonna be expanding the steering committee, reaching out to a few, additional people to join us on that. And also, I sent, at like about approximately 1 minute before this meeting started, a draft letter of support for us to include with the DRI New York Forward application. So it's different this year, Mike. In previous years, you've done like a welcome letter, sort of a
Yeah.
cover letter, but that didn't go in the 20 pages anymore. So
Okay,
our letter is just a letter of support, which we've also done further years past. So I wrote it as a letter of support from the board. If that's okay, fine. If you prefer to have it just be a letter from you, fine. I don't think we need a motion for this or anything.
No.
Just have a look at it. If anybody has suggestions, let us know. We'll get that in.
it comes from the board, but I'll still sign.
Do we even sign it? We sign it? Yeah, okay, yeah, sure. Perfect.
Okay,
I've had the opportunity.
I might need to,
I haven't read it yet.
I might need to go in your space.
Yeah, you do.
I can do that. Okay, and that's all of that. Sustainability, still working with Tim on some stuff around the compost. Tom's been, talking to a lot of different people about our program and other programs, Razor, and it's gonna be having an article sometime soon. We did do a reminder this week, that we're really still continuing to have problems with people putting trash in plastic, leaving trash in plastic. So people need to really remember that this is for food waste only, and get your plastic bags home to them. The other thing is, this is not, we need to do that indoor adapt.
Oh,
I
okay.
never heard from this one. And finally, the only other thing I have is finance. Mike and Sally and I met and are moving forward with the treasurer, posting again. I updated that to make it a little more, readable, maybe a little more exciting. Is that, have we done anything with posting that? No, you don't. I do that. I think we're ready, right?
Yeah, I think we're in the point was to do it like mid-September.
So if anybody knows anybody who wants to be a village treasurer, send them our way. We do know that they're looking, lots of communities are looking, we have it's really hard to find. That's all I got.
Okay,
okay, so I'll pick up a piece of ED that is mine is, we now have signed joint town and village contract with CGI, so I will work out, connect with them and see what next steps are. You know, I think my sense is we're probably since past the point of doing any kind of film work during the fall color time. But I'll get in touch with them and we'll go from there. You know, part of that process involves, you know, some folks, you know, meeting with their folks to come up with overall design and so forth. So we'll need to, you know, recruit for that. Communications and technology, two things of interest. At the last meeting, I mentioned that we had received advice that we had three internet lines coming into the building and we could save some money by going down to 2, and there didn't seem to be any negative issues. But the town, in talking with their tech folks, have run into a potential issue. So that is not yet moving forward, just so folks are aware. We'll regroup on that at our next meeting. At which we're also working on a social media policy for departments and committees. Because we have been approached, there are committees that have Facebook pages already, for example, but we've been approached by others that wish to. And at this point, it just makes sense to have some sort of social media guidelines around, what is connected to us as municipalities. So that's something that we're working on. That's it for me.
See, the Sustainability Committee is assisting the village in getting climate smart community status, which will be helpful for future grant possibilities and funding. We're actually pretty close to it. We've done a lot of the things. We just have to organize it and write it up and submit it. So we'll have that. I will have a resolution regarding that, the October meeting. So that's something, and I'll send it out ahead of time so you can read it over before the meeting. Also, our Court Street study presentation by the Clarkson folks, just a reminder, it's next Wednesday, the 28th, 6 o'clock, right here. And so talk to any Canton residents that you think might be interested, round them up. And we had a good turnout the last time. We had a very good public input. So I encourage you to make it to that. And let's see, we already mentioned the EV charger. I talked to somebody just the other day from ANCA, and she works closely with the DC folks, and she said her chances are very good. She more or less said we'll be getting that, so that'll be good. We'll have a new fast charger in Hodgkin Street. And just to let you know, and be keeping an eye out, we're looking for another location in the village somewhere for an additional charger. Thinking possibly of the plaza lot when that gets developed, and I've talked to Lenore about that. That's a possibility, and possibly the pavilion. And Megan, I got to talk to you about that. If there's a space somewhere around the pavilion area, we could do that. So we'll continue working on that and getting more chargers.
The parties continue at your house.
Yeah, right. Parties are
In your neighborhood.
Nowhere to crash a Friday night, huh?
I talked to another neighbor down the street at Harrison, and she said at one point there was a body on her front lawn. And she went out and she was alarmed. She wasn't moving, so she got a few other people to come over, and finally they got him moving and got him up and walking around. But she was a little concerned that there was no movement for quite a while.
Ooh, okay, yeah, sorry about that. We went off track there. Anything else?
No, that's all.
The other committees, rec? I think we've, covered it. There's some other stuff on the policy later in the agenda.
Right.
Anybody else? We good? We good? Okay. Communications and information, I don't have anything and nothing from our legislator. He was trying to get a hold of me while I was on vacation. But it's covered. I think we figured out what he was up to. And it's later in the agenda. Okay, old business. First item is 64 Main Street. Pretty much self-explanatory that there's no parking out there right now. I don't have an answer on when to get that space back. They have found, well, we know that there was decent contamination in part of that. It's my understanding that they're gonna move forward with cleaning that up. You haven't heard anything, have you, Jerry?
They have not told me what the exact plan is. We have an extension of our contingency through January 31st.
Right.
I was gonna mention, nice a long time to fix it.
Right. So once they get that cleaned up, we'll move forward on. As soon as I know more, I will I'll send an email to contact the DEC and see if maybe they can give us, DEC was there, they monitored what was going on. Okay, next item is the CPA for AUDs and audit services. We had some questions about that. At our last meeting, we clarified that and the agreement has been circulated, and the finance committee is wishing to move this forward with the changes that were made.
The changes being it being a 3-year contract with an option for 2
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
Yes, I think that's perfect. Thank you for going back to the table on that.
And it didn't change prices.
Nope.
Okay, so I need a motion.
In the product. Right. Right. It's very good.
I need a motion to sign that.
So moved.
Second,
Or you can say.
doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter to me. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. The next item was the recreation policy. That's been out about a couple of times. Thank Beth for sitting down with me last night. Late in the afternoon yesterday. And made some changes, added some language. Rearranged a few things based on comments we received from other board members. I sent that around. We also included in here some additional information to try to focus on if somebody requests to do a project, the type of information we need. I think that is a little bit more of a living document that may change based on a project that comes forward and what, the information we may need to proceed. But the policy, I think, is the important piece and this does need to move forward. If we can get that, pending any changes that you see right now, we get it approved and moved over to the town so that they can move on it, then that becomes our recreation department's policy. Megan has seen both of those documents and you're okay?
I think especially the form, Megan, is gonna need to just, you're gonna need to adapt that as you use it and figure out, what you need to do. I appreciate the opportunity to have some input on that. I think it's both more useful now and accessible. Useful was the word I said, and accessible and also just a little more friendly. I think it's gonna make it seem not that people are thinking we're daring them to come and do a project, but instead saying, we welcome this. This is how we need to.
I appreciate the collaborative effort on this. There have been several drafts, and this is something that needs to be approved by us in the town. And I think that there have been a lot of voices on it, and that makes documents stronger and policies better. So, thank you. I know it's been several weeks in the making, but we appreciate the patience as we put that. So, thanks a lot.
Well, I make a motion that we approve the policy as most recently presented.
Second,
Second.
any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Can I just say one quick thing?
Yeah.
On the forum, a lot of those added questions were just brainstorms. I'm happy to chat with you what was in my brain when I threw them on there. Because I don't necessarily think they all need to be on there.
Well, every project, is
Right, yeah,
different. You were just thinking outside.
I was just helping. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Under new business, I need a motion to authorize payment of vouchers and transfer of funds. Move. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
And opposed. Next item is a draft agreement that was provided to me or sent to me about the provisioning of PSAP services with St. Lawrence County. That generated a few questions by board. I have a pretty solid understanding of what's going on here. I tried to do write up that shared that information when the questions came to me, and I hope I was able to cover that pretty well. Really, bottom line, what's driving this is if you've been paying attention to what's going on up in Ogdensburg. They are working to try to have the 911 center take over all dispatching services for them. And they're really forcing the issue. So this proposal that they would like us to agree to memorializes what has been going on around here since 911. 911 has been an interesting concept when it was rolled out in our community. There were several groups, whether they were police departments, fire departments, or others, that wanted to keep control of that service. So they maintain dispatchers in their community. In the case of Canton, and that's the one I'll speak the most about, with fire service. Once 911 went up there, there was a transition period for lines that went directly to the fire station. Took some time to get those dialers reprogrammed, and people reprogrammed to dial 911. And then when the new fire station was built, there was no apartment there for the live-in that was a full-time dispatcher. So everything went over to 911. In case of the police department, they fill in for the police, out of hours, really. There's always been a dispatcher there most of the day during the week. They go on break or get called away or somebody gets ill, they transfer their phones over. So it's kind of a limited use of that resource, but they're there and they've been there for us. So really, nothing is going to change for the village of Canton, both in fire rescue or police services. The question, I hope I answered the questions appropriately that came to me. The funding piece was really driven by some consolidation money that was received by Ogdensburg. And the county was looking to get a share of that because they have to expand 911. And there's a lot of things going on over the course of the next year or so, including upgrades to communications equipment, radio equipment. And then they're moving the whole operation upstairs and increasing the number of places for answering calls. So this is a lot of what's driving this here. We've always had a good relationship there. And if we've ever had a problem, it's always been taken care of. Didn't matter if it's on the police side, fire rescue side. So the only really question that's out there, and that came as part of what we were doing when we started looking at this, is the legalese. They do a pretty good job of protecting themselves in this agreement. So that was really our question. Because they call this a draft agreement, we think that, or I think, that maybe you ought to take a serious look at that and see if there's something that can be culled from that.
It's draft number 1.
Okay.
People lost their phone.
So, because they're asking, Ogdensburg to sign something, they're gonna ask us to sign something, and then they ask other departments to sign. So it's only fair that there's a little bit of negotiation here. I'm not opposed to this. I don't know that the board would be opposed to us signing an agreement that memorializes what's been going on. But we're gonna leave the legalese to
Just
you.
need to talk to you a little more about this, and there's a lot of language I think to be removed or clarified. It's a lot.
Steve Button, I know, has his finger, right in this thing, so. Maybe you should talk to him, or we should talk to him, try to clarify a little bit. What they're-
Editorial committee will get together.
Are there any questions from the board about this? I've circulated the the agreement and the answers to questions. I think that both chiefs have weighed in. I've obviously been involved in all of it for years and understand it, so.
Well, and I do appreciate, at least, several of those questions came from me.
I wasn't gonna hang that around.
Well,
your
I mean,
neck.
I'll own it, because I think they have to be asked, right? So,
That's right.
it was my assumption that this was in fact simply formalizing what we do and for all the reasons that you stated.
Yeah.
But I wanted to make sure that, right, there's always unintended consequence in policy. And so if we can at all foresee what those might be, that's in our best interest. So, with the chief's blessing that this is truly just, business as usual, but we're saying it's what we're doing, great. I do think that Canton, let's put Canton in there somewhere in that language. So I appreciate that.
So Jerry and I will get together, make some contacts and see if we can
Great.
get a second draft out of it.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next item is a resolution in support of a 2022 St. Lawrence County centralized biosolids composting facility feasibility study. This was something that came about through Dank. This is what the county legislator was trying to get me to make sure I move out, so we get this approved. They are looking at how to deal with solids that come out of a sewer operation, treatment operation. We don't have the problem with those solids the way other communities do because of the water system. But Dank is interested in information from us. And they want our participation. It won't cost us anything. Their sample resolution was modified to say the village of Canton. But they're interested in what we might have to produce later. Now, we are going to have to clean that, certainly one digester, or not the digester, but the lagoon. Number one lagoon, and eventually it's gonna have to be cleaned. If we replace the liners as we're projecting down the road here in a few years, that will definitely have to clean the solids. But it has not been accumulating the way they expected it when Kraft was in full operations. We've been fortunate in that regard. The place has been open and never, the solids have never been cleaned, and when they go and check the depth, there's. Carol will like this, they go out in a little rowboat.
So can I ask, it's not gonna cost us anything. What is it gonna cost in terms of our staff time? Like, is the report, what they're
Just-
asking for is
There's a
super
form.
easy.
There's a form that they want us to fill out, provide some information to them, at least some information to them.
Okay.
Mark can do that pretty quick.
And that's it.
That's it.
I think it's worth it, neighbors.
So right now, that's the deal. Not committing us to anything other than participating in that study.
Let's do it.
Okay, I need a motion.
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the next item, we do need to, and I think I mentioned this to everybody, the crossing guards, we needed to upgrade them to a higher rate of pay. The school district pays the vast majority of that, so and I talked to Ron, he was good, they were moved up to $15. We need to make that official. At the same time, next year, the staff at the golf course needs to be up to that same level. We won't be able to get anybody through one of our labor propensity unless we do that. And that's going to be terrible. Everybody's at the same rate. So,
Sounds reasonable.
So do you want a motion for both?
yes.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Resolution for a Restore New York grant application. That has been circulated. You want the secret first or resolution? It's a type 2 anyway. Okay, that has been circulated. I'm assuming you read it.
Yeah.
Can I assume that?
Yeah, I read it.
Okay.
I will just add, I appreciated not only the presentation this evening, but also the support, and we had met with them earlier and had a sort of a similar presentation. And I think this is just the exact kind of private investment and engagement and participation that we are so needing and looking for. I think it's really exciting and not just because it's a brewery. So it's a great business model, and I'm very excited. So I would make a motion that we approve the resolution for restoring your grant application for SUDS, St. Louis SUDS Inc. as presented.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in
Just a
favor?
second.
Oh.
Aye.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I absolutely support what Carol was saying. I mean, this, when you have folks who, you know, have a plan and a project and get people together and invest and, you know, are ready to invest. And then, I mean, this is exactly where we can do, I think, some of our best work. So as a municipality, so.
A win-win. I'm pretty happy to see this. I love the power.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. And I do think, I mean, here, you know, it's a fun concept, but the fact that there can be food and community and events as part of their long-term plan, I think is really important. And the more places we know, the more places we have a campus like this, the more people are. So it's exciting.
The data you had on people going away to eat and drink was
It is.
Yeah.
Staggering, yeah. For sure.
Okay,
So,
that being said,
Aye.
any opposed? Didn't think so.
Dumping Island was that.
Do you want to discuss? In the
It's in the resolution, but we already passed it. So.
to do what?
Well, there's a $500 fee. I think that normally. The applicant. Pays it. Is that correct?
They asked, and I know that I've seen in other communities that it is the business that pays for it, that will be benefited from the grant. So I just wanted to know that we were going to ask that they pay that.
I mean. Traditional zoning, so it's-
Well, we got to pay the fee with it, and they're going to have to reimburse us, right?
Someone has to write a check. But it is in the resolution,
Yeah.
so, yeah. I mean, however you decide to, you gotta pay it. And
Okay.
reimburse it.
Okay. Next item. Discuss and approve type 2 secret action for 41 Main Street, West Main Street. Jerry, you had your finger in this one. I believe.
Well, yeah, Lee and I worked on this together, and it's, we identified that this would be a type 2 action, which is not subject to seeker. But even so, it's a good idea to have that formalized. So the resolution describes the action and then identifies the specific subsection of the secret regulation that describes type 2 actions. We checked type 1 actions, and it's just not, does not come under any type 1 actions. So if you wanted to do a secret review, you could do it a short form under uncovered actions, but there's really no point, because this is clearly in type 2, which by the regulations definition is not so.
Part of what the concern was is that we wanted to make sure with grant application that this was covered.
Right.
So that's really the point of this. We're gonna,
You would need the resolution.
Pass
You don't
resolution.
need to go through the secret process.
we're just declaring that this is a type 2 action, so we need a motion to accept this.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, yesterday afternoon, Jim was able to nail down a part-time dispatcher. Gary Bryant, she currently works at the 911 building, she's looking for some extra hours, so She'd like to
Sorry,
be-
say, I can't, yep. Turn your head that way, we're done.
It'll go 5 times and then it'll stop.
It is pretty impressive how loud.
My office is right by that.
I bet.
Lucky you.
I've almost shot it a couple times.
I mean, you're the right guy to hear it. We want you to know.
If there's bullet holes in that wall, don't go by.
So yesterday afternoon, Jim had been able to nail down a dispatcher for part-time to replace. We had authorized this to look for someone. I was able to get this nailed down after the agenda had gone out. So that's why it's been added. The Jim, you want to say anything or?
She's fully trained, I guess all the guys that work the midnight shift here, deal with her, love her. And just about doing cartwheels and. Kind of like, talking about it, nice. I think she'd do great, she's not to do really much, man, and they give her access to our computer system, so. she can
How
do
many
everything.
hours will she work?
It's up to 20 is what Danny used to work, but I don't think she can do quite that many because she's gonna basically come in 3 nights a week, work up to her shift, take a 15-minute break and go start the full hours. It'll be probably a little bit between 11 and 12 hours a week. Unless she's like,
That's fantastic. She's that well versed.
that's huge.
I think you advertised on Facebook or something.
I've been getting lots of inquiries, but this is the one that is the premium crop, so.
Great.
you never know.
What's the name? I'm sorry.
It's Carrie Bryant.
I'll guess on the spelling of Carrie. There's only 90 ways to put.
CARRIE.
Okay.
Yeah,
Guess wrong.
you want Bryant too?
I got it.
Okay.
Good luck on that.
Effective when? Immediately?
So, yes,
When did she start?
I have to check on that. I think.
So I make a motion that we approve the hiring of dispatcher, right? Effective as soon as possible.
You probably have to say right away, yeah.
It's according to the contract.
Oh, so we don't have
So
to.
You don't have to.
Okay. Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Good job.
Right on.
Great.
The last item on here was to just briefly discuss the solar array that's was in the news recently on State Street next to the nursing home. It's a piece of property that is immediately adjacent to the village. County planning turned them down. It will probably go to the town planning board. The county had some good reasons why, including that it, could be prime development space, either for the village to annex and expand into. Water and sewer is right there immediately available, so, those were part of the reasons. I know they talked about agricultural land, but I think the county really talked about where it sits in relation to the village. So that's coming up. I don't know. I think you need to think a little bit about it if you want to. When it comes to the town planning board, maybe we want to see. Maybe we want to look at how our comp plan looks and talks about some of these things. And do we want to support it or?
This on State Street,
Yeah.
like across from the ball fields, that. where
No,
on
no, it's
State-
further down. If you get on State Street, be on the left, go past the nursing home and that field out there.
Oh, after the nursing home
Yeah.
on the left. Okay.
So there's a proposal for a solar farm there. It's owned by the Curtises. And the county turned them down, so it's gonna take a super majority plus one of the
Of the
planning
town-
board,
the town
town
board.
planning board to approve it. I don't know if they will or not. I just want you to think about it. We'll talk more about it later, but would the village want to
Make a
object
statement.
or make a statement?
Is it in between Partridge and like? Howard's house, Joe Howard's house, is that right?
Between the nursing home and how?
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, I got it. So it's really State Street, not. East Street.
It's State Street. State Street, some of it fronts out on the street.
So it's kind of on the corner. On the corner. of the
Yes.
intersection.
Yeah, so I just wanted to bring that to your attention. If you've been paying attention, there's probably there's probably 8 projects that are coming within our community. Very close.
Do you know when that's going to the town? Do you know what our timeline is at all?
Don't know. I'll find out, but I just wanted it on your radar and that's all much.
Thank you.
You know, I'm not saying one way or the other. Yes,
Can we have the board authorize you to endorse, St. Lawrence Suds application to National Grid? They need a letter.
Yeah. I thought we kind of agreed to that.
I don't know if
There's a
you're gonna
well, I don't think we
formalize
need that as a formal motion, do we, Jerry?
Let's just do it. So she has it.
No.
Yeah,
Let's just do it.
Okay.
I make a motion that we authorize the mayor to
Write a letter of endorsement.
write a letter and direct the concerns for the president.
Second,
Anybody in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Didn't think so.
Thanks.
Last item on the agenda is public comment.
Can I just make a question and a comment, please? If we're going to continue using the online service, are we going to address the problems with that? There are audio problems when you all have conversation amongst yourselves. It doesn't pick that up. I've tried moving around, pretty slick into some of my clients' offices to guarantee a better internet connection. I know I can't do it at home. But we continue to have limitations, and we have limitations in this room on audio. And I know I have weak ears, but with or without my plastic ears in place, when you all have conversations amongst yourselves, as often happens, none of us aged people can hear you. So I would really appeal that we need to look carefully at what the owl is doing for the Zoom feature. See if we can improve this.
Okay, thank you for your comment.
I do have a question. Just to prove this, in terms of, I don't know what the technology is. Is there a way that we can come by?
with
Not just out there is a newer owl.
Of course there is.
There's a newer owl, of course.
That's another $2. We're working on.
I can't tell the website. The school board has the same issue.
Well, if I may go around to the other side of my life, and part of the problem is trying to do all communication wirelessly. And we have wireless problems already down here that have not been fully addressed. But trying to do that wirelessly, along with the video. There are limitations all the way along the pipeline. I know you're increasing the pipeline into the building, that will make a difference, but not. Wireless is not a panacea. When we try to do some of these things, we still need a wire connected to the internet.
Thank you for your comments. Mark?
I just have one, actually two small comments, and I emailed you yesterday. About the one that we didn't do that on the agenda. This question was up to Megan and the mayor. We removed the ADA debt launch. I think it went too early. We had a list of volunteers and buddy that agreed that we'll donate, take it out at the end of October. And I understand DPW took it out, left out there, it was damage done for launch. The manufacturer's going to come up this week and take a look at it. I just want to make you aware there was damage to needs to be repaired. You guys, if you damage, it should be responsible for this.
I think I responded to your email.
And then the other, I applaud Megan for doing the ADA doors at the pavilion. I think it's a long time needed. But also we need to address the ADA bathroom. We have our sub hockey team maybe practicing in the pavilion as well. Also, Sweeney Canton. you have no place to go where there's 88 bathrooms. So I'd like to see if we could address that issue. And get that into her budget so we can take care of this stuff.
Thank you, Mark. Any further public comment? Okay. I need a motion to go into executive session for the purchase or sale of property.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Lee, would you please stay? Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Like, doesn't matter now.
That's not.
Because they can't use the other ones.